So, Jon, we got to know, what is the relationship between virtual reality, VR, and virtual reality advertising and native advertising?
So this is an interesting question, and I want to ask everybody here, who, with a show of hands, is familiar with what a native ad is? Hands up if you know what a native ad is. Okay. And hands up if you've heard about virtual reality advertising. McDonald's, Red Bull. Not so many, huh? Hands up if you want me to give this to you so you can experience it. Yeah? Hands up. You want me to give it to you? Okay.
We're in.
So a native ad, by definition, is two things. First, it fits the form and function of the environment it's served in. So if it's on a content site, it looks like it's a piece of editorial with a little bit of distinction. If it's on a site like YouTube, it would be a standalone video that functions like the content. So it looks like it. The second thing is that it delivers a value. The ad can stand on its own legs. So it's either delivering some type of entertainment value or telling a story, or it might be something informational that you can actually get a benefit from. And where I see the similarities between native advertising and virtual reality is that the ads that are going in this obviously have to fit the form and function of the environment that they're in, otherwise it's not going to be compelling. But every experience can stand on its own, so definitely check it out after. Take a look at the 360 ads that are being done by some of the bigger brands. Really cool stuff. And why I'm excited is because native advertising is kind of losing its way right now. A lot of brands are taking it and making it really a banner with a headline rather than what it's supposed to be, which is telling a story or sharing some information that people can really get a good experience from.
Ooh, that's juicy. Okay, it's losing its way. Now, leads us to this. For a brand or a marketer who has maybe not yet run a native campaign, what would you suggest to them to have a successful experience? Any tips or tricks?
Well, kind of like when you approach anything, you want to break it into steps. So some people, when they do native advertising, they go direct to a publisher and they say, let's put this advertorial that my team has cooked up directly on your site. They spend $15 to $50 CPM and their campaign budget gets blown. The way you want to do it is test your content first. So get your content onto a microsite or a mini site that your brand is supporting or your client is supporting. Then use content recommendation, which is served up on a CPC. It can be as cheap as 3 cents and expensive as 50 cents. Use that ad that's served on other publishers' sites to direct the traffic to your advertorial microsite, and then A/B test, time on article, engagement, are they clicking through to an offer page? And once you understand what content is performing and what creatives are performing, that's the time to host the advertorial on the publisher site and do something really special like the orange was the new black and these types of native ads that have been quite viral, very well talked about.
Oh, nice. Those are good tips. I think that's what's exciting for a lot of us in digital is we get the flexibility to test and experiment and glean some learnings and then pivot and really amplify what's working well. So that's cool. Okay, do you feel that native ads will eventually replace display ads?
It's kind of happening right now, but I don't think we're going to see display ads get completely replaced. If you go to a publisher site on Wayback Machine and take a look at it 3 years ago, they're kind of banner farms. You had your 720 up at the top, you got your 300 by 250s down the side margin, you got another 728 in the footer, and there's basically a banner every 70 to 100 pixels. Now go to that same site today, and you'll see, you may also like, recommended for you. And there's these content-based article ads, and they're starting to shift those in and phase out the display. But the 300 by 250 banner, that good old pal of ours that can reach the entire planet, you can retarget it and target people based on so many different demographical details. I don't think we'll ever see that banner disappear just yet. I think that display advertising is a necessary discipline, and it works perfectly in harmony.
Yeah. Okay. Jon has brought up a lot of great things. One of the things he just brought up, though, definitely recommend checking out the Wayback Machine. Are you familiar with this? It is an internet archive. So what they do is they kind of screen cap every site over time. So if you go to it today, you can look at any of your favorite sites when they first started, and it shows you when they captured it and what it looked like. So it's pretty neat to see how our space has changed over time. It's this special place if you want to lose a lot of time. So our last question for you, Jon, is what is the biggest misunderstanding you encounter with marketers when discussing native advertising? Lay it on us.
Okay. The biggest myth that I want to annihilate today is that native advertising is expensive and that it cannot scale. It can be done very cost effectively. You can get very qualified users to your site, 2 minutes time on site, 5-6 page views for as low as 3.5 cents. You can't tell me that's expensive. That's very cost effective. The second element is saying that native advertising cannot scale. If you're doing a unique piece to go on one type of publisher site, this is true, but that's one form of native. We call that on property. If you're just simply doing content marketing using a content recommendation service, you can easily access 8 to 10 billion impressions per day in any of the top IAB categories. So the scale is there, the cost efficiency is there, and I really encourage you to take a look at it. So I'm from nativeads.com. We'd love to help you with content recommendation or any type of native advertising, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Jon. Thank you. Round of applause for Jon, everybody. Him and his team are also, yes. Him and his team are also taking really great care of all of our speakers and panel members and pampering them so they're coming up here relaxed and ready to share their knowledge with all of us. So thank you, Jon.
We're doing Grey Goose and aloe shots in the back room. So if you know a VIP, try and get in there. And we got massages and all kinds of good stuff. Thank you so much for having me, guys.